Hey! Whoa, whoa. Here I come. Oh, here I come.
Ooh, Ishiro is hiding something. In exception to that, in the end of the episode, it was fucking great. I do love myself some kaiju monsters of the week episodes that have a lot of lore to them, specifically when those specific kaijus are native to Earth. With Leodo being a kaiju that lived in the swamp on Earth 12,000 years ago that would spit black goo that would destroy the villagers' crops. So in retaliation, the villagers created a potion to knock him out, and after that the villagers buried him underground and planted a forest above him to pretty much to keep him away from the above ground. I just love Earth-based kaijus with really cool lore to them. I don't know, there is something about it that it is really interesting because you can do so many things with them, because I do find a lot of alien kind of space themed kaijus to be kind of boring, because how many times you can do the kaiju that is invading Earth for no apparent reason because they want control. You can do other things that Gaia did a lot of really cool things, specifically with the radical destruction entity, just bringing in kaijus kind of outside of their will. V99 was a great like semi of an enemy that in the end we discovered to be not a real enemy. Like, that was cool. I think like from time to time just Earth-based kaijus do tell more interesting and more different story, at least in their variety, than just, oh, it's a bad alien. And I did like the backstory of the kaiju, and the fear of it waking made some sort of a cool connection with kind of the main plot of the episode, with a construction company needed to cut down the forest to build more buildings, and like they actually like gave it a reason, and not like, oh, it's a bad construction company and they want to fucking build more building because, oh my god, like, we need more money. It's like, no, like, the recent kaiju attacks fucking destroyed a bunch of people's homes. We need to build more buildings. There are a lot of people that are probably homeless now. Like, that's like actually cool. Like, it would be an interesting story, like as a main concept, as the main story. It could be interesting because you can do a story where it's like you can look on the good side of like a company wants to help people, but at the same time you can look at it on the bad side and say, oh, this company is also looking for profit. So it's like they're reeking off the benefit of people's suffering. That is interesting, which kind of didn't really land into the big plot of the episode. But I did really like the father-son relationship in the episode, with the son being the person that called Skip when he heard about the construction company cutting down the trees, and it could have led to a overworked dad being really mean to his son. But no, like, he did yell at him because, hey, he brought a fucking like a kaiju investigative services into his fucking job without telling him. But after they got like an alone time, it was kind of after they discovered pretty much almost like a tomb, you can say. But the dad did like really get to apologize to his son, and like you can really see that the dad is a good person. But hey, like, when you just bringing people to my job and you might fucking get me fired, I will get angry. That was great, because like I truly thought that in the first time we saw the dad, I was like, oh, that's just going to be a bad dad that's going to realize the error of his way when his son is in trouble, which didn't happen, and I like it. While I do love the way the show is continuing to build up the relationship between Yuma and Ishida, where the show is very much not subtle about Ishida hiding stuff from the people that he just got to start working with. I do like that the episode pretty much continue from episode number 1. It's literally, you can binge those those two episodes back to back and they would work perfectly, where literally when Ishida like questions Yuma's totally reasonable response to believe in that kid. So it is interesting that pretty much when Ishida kind of asked Yuma, like, hey, like, why the fuck do you believe the kid? It's like, hey, a part of my job is to trust people. Like, trust is the first thing I do, which is really is interesting because it seems like, okay, and it seems that he kind of uses it to his advantage by having the GDF pretty much bringing a satellite to see what is on the ground. Again, it's pretty much like Ishida using Yuma in a good and a bad way, and it's going to be kind of interesting because Ishida is very much the representative of the morally corrupt army pretty much. So it is interesting if he's going to represent them in what way. Is he going to represent them fully and we're going to realize that he's a piece of shit, or is he just going to represent him like a character like Retsuno from Blazer, just in some of their motives but not all of them, and just the only thing that he really shares about with the army is the uniform? But again, with him being very secretive about specific things after he, saw a big reading of something related to kaijus, and he pretty much was talking with somebody on the phone. It is going to be kind of interesting how this is going to evolve moving forward. Again, it could be a lot of different things moving forward, but it is going to be interesting how like Ishida as a character is going to evolve when the show, where the show is going to continue. While I do still find a lot of the interactions between Arc and Yuma to be really interesting, Arc still just pretty much outs Yuma's name, just this is how kind of he talks. Maybe again, it's going to be kind of interesting, specifically when Yuma was looking for more information about Leodo in this antique shop. Like literally Arc pretty much point him to the pot where the potion is in, and it is going to be kind of interesting moving forward. So it is kind of interesting, he knows about it, he maybe can smell, maybe he can feel it in the air, and he knows about it. How does he know? We don't really know, but it is really cool looking, and it's just, there is something about the aura that the show kind of presents Arc with. He's always not like fully there. He's most of the time like in a glass, he sees Arc, but he's not physically there. He's not even, if you think, like he's way more metaphorically there, almost like Yuma and Arc are reflection of each other, which could kind of blend into maybe Arc and Yuma being the same person, and maybe just Arc's light kind of evolved from Yuma. Again, it really depends on how the show is going to have this big reveal of who the fuck is Arc. While also like visually, it is kind of interesting that Subarai is still using like a lot of Blazer's sound effects, specifically when like Arc appears, it's kind of sound like the same sound effect when the Blazer brace appears on Gento's hands. It is interesting, while also it is cool that we're getting like almost like a pre to the Rise Up now, so it's different from the first episode. And if we continue on visually wise, I just love the fight scene. I thought that we're getting another point, like I really thought we're going to get the timer every episode, but it does feel like it was a episode 1 kind of deal, while just the fight scene itself was cool. I was kind of wrong about Arc having the use of his saber when his color timer beeps. I genuinely thought that, but maybe it's just the armors. But I did really like the usage of the sword. Again, nice Ultra 7 reference, while also I just love that the buzzsaw attack is kind of getting a small little comeback because it's been a while, and like that fucking shot that gone through pretty much like Arc's head and like eyes to the monster was like, oh, it's like you can really see the director is like going full out with his creative vision, specifically like effect wise. You can really feel like pretty much Subarai is going full out with Tokusatsu, and fuck, like the kaiju and Arc pretty much free falling down a hole, and Arc just shooting his beam while free falling is just so cool, and I just kind of like the way he kind of used the momentum of pretty much the beam to get himself out of the hole. It's just great. Overall, like, it was an amazing episode. It really does feel like the show is fully into, first of all, build the world that the characters live in, and then the characters, which I think works hand in hand. I think if you have like a characters that are well enough developed and a world that's not, you kind of get into like a Git situation. Really like how it does continue the world and the world building. It does really feel like a semi of a combination of Gaia and Cosmos's Earth. So it is going to be interesting how much they're going to lean into, what Ultra show they're going to lean in more into, and it does really feel like it's slightly more childish, which is fine. I didn't really saw a lot of Cosmos. Cosmos is like a 60-something episode series. It's really fucking difficult. Like, if Cosmos was 50, it would have been like fine. But it's like when you're like closing into the 70s with 3 movies, it's difficult to actually defend you as a show. But yeah, like, looks to be kind of building up kind of a story of Ishida, or pretty much using Skip for his own good, or pretty much kind of try to have Skip and the GDF work together, or it's just both of them at the same time. Again, it is really interesting. Ishida as a character is, I think, really compelling right now. I think Rin and Ban in one point should start getting more like stuff around them, because right now, like, they're there. Again, I like Ban's as actor, like, he does really fit the role really well, but right now he kind of like feels like another like captain of a team. Yeah, this episode gets an A. I think it was a solid enough continuation of the first episode. It had a really fucking good monster. It feels right now kind of like, okay, it's a second episode, so it didn't have all of like the cool like flashy things that a first episode would always have. So yeah, what you thought about Ultraman Arc episode 2? Comment below, let me know. If you liked the video, please like it. Help the subscribe button finally hit its goal to becoming a subscribed button. And yeah, thank you very much for watching the video. Don't forget, you're the only one that can prevent forest fires. And have a great rest of your day. Bye bye.